Well, in our next story, we go from drawing comics to selling them. We visit with a young entrepreneur who brings a fresh take to pop culture to a Jackson Midtown neighborhood in Offbeat.
I sell records, older people like records. I sell comic books, kids like comic books. It wasn't something that was planned, it was something I fell into. I noticed a lot of people younger and closer to my age, I was talking about leaving Mississippi. And I was looking at like, what do we not have here in the capital city that other cities have? And I was like, well, we don't have a movie theater. We used to have a comic book store. We used to have a record store. And so all of these things are gone that, help grow culturally, what people's interests are, and help grow communities that are built around record stores and comic book stores especially. So that's what I try to do with Offbeat, is make kind of an all-in-one place so nobody feels excluded out, and be a showcase for young minorities specifically to showcase their artwork. We didn't have a record player in my house. This is really weird. We didn't have a record player in my house growing up, but I remember seeing the Shaka Khan record my mom just had. So she became my favorite singer. And listening to Kixie 107, my mom didn't like rap and hip hop at all, but I ended up growing to love it. And over the summers, I go to my grandmother's house, and she listened to nothing but blues. So while cooking on Sundays, and even when I get there on Fridays on the weekends, it was nothing but blues in her household. That was like my exposure to music growing up as a kid. My mom, she was into Star Trek and Star Wars and comic books, and she collected comics. And so I used to read her comic, we used to sneak and read her comic book collection. That's how I learned how to read, actually, because I didn't know what a Wolverine was, and she made me look it up.
He grew up reading comics, and I think his mom used to read comics and pass down some comics to him, so it goes deep. So the bond is definitely there, and the sincerity that he's serious about, keeping that culture alive. So more power to you, Phillip.
You can get recommendations online if you buy one thing and they'll recommend you something else, but it's nothing like talking to somebody personally. So you kind of get that personal experience, and then when they come back in, they'll tell you like, oh, I like that book, what else do you have recommend? And it's probably that personal communication as opposed to like, you're just sitting at a screen, you're like, oh, click, it'll be here in 2 days. I'm trying to get people more into reading comics by starting a comic book club. And we have a Gundam building workshop, so people can learn about that and get tips from other people. It's a learning process, and the city is learning with me. So it's one of those things, like, people love music regardless. I don't care who you are, you're gonna love some type of music. You're gonna find something that grabs you because it's gonna hold an emotional value to you at some point in your life. I don't want people selling away stuff that they are attached to. And I'm a firm believer in that. Even when I was just buying records for myself, it was an old lady, and she sold her husband's collection. And I was like, is there any record in here? And it was one, and he had written a note on it and everything. And there was so many records that I bought at that time that I had to look through all of them to find that one record. And I did. So I brought it back to her, and I bought a CD of the record and gave it to her as like appreciation.
I met Phillip when he was just out of high school or like freshman in college. He was real super young when I met him. He was actually my first official DJ. To see him grow up and get married, and have his kid and everything, and become a businessman, business owner, entrepreneur, and a well-respected DJ in the city. Like he really stuck his flag in the ground. We try to do a lot of stuff that pertains to the city and bring a positive light to it. Me and a couple of my friends, we noticed that we saw some shirts that were kind of like belittling Jackson, or kind of back-talking it a little bit. So we wanted to bring some stuff that kind of lifts it up. So one of my friends, he came up with the Frank Milton design. Frank Milton was a really polarizing figure. You either loved him or you hated him. And so when he did the shirt, it was a really popular shirt. A couple of years later, he decides to do a Kenneth Stokes shirt, because he's, again, one of those people that you either love or you hate. Then we started the On God Jew
clothing line, which pretty much derives from kids talking and saying what they're really serious about and just putting it on a shirt. I have a son, and I'm trying to show him that you can do whatever you believe in, and that's the main thing. From young to old, black, white, it doesn't matter. This is stuff that people think that's cool, and it's all a form of art. That's why I called the place Offbeat. It's a form of offbeat art.
Thanks for joining us. If you like what you see, subscribe to Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Till next time, I'll be seeing you on Mississippi Roads.
Down Mississippi.